Hi, I'm sure you know me by now, but I'm Claire Ridgway, author of nearly 13 Tudor history books and someone who spends a lot of time researching Tudor history. Now, you may have seen my videos on Becoming Elizabeth, that series by Starz, which is on at the moment. And I've had lots of people ask me for book recommendations, to find out the real history behind the series. So I thought I'd give you a starter kind of list for finding out the real history. So first of all, thinking about Elizabeth, we have The Temptation of Elizabeth Tudor by historian Elizabeth Norton, which focuses on Elizabeth's relationship with Thomas Seymour and looks at the primary sources that we have on that and looks at exactly what happened. So if that storyline has made you eager to find out what really happened, then this is the book for you. So we've got that one. Elizabeth's pre-accession days, which of course is what Becoming Elizabeth is all about, is the focus of David Starkey's Elizabeth Apprenticeship. Now this, I think, is a UK copy, yes, vintage UK. I know it does have slightly different covers and also titles in other countries, but it's called Elizabeth, and then this one's got a subtitle Apprenticeship. But that is very, very good on Elizabeth's early life. It does of course touch on the Seymour scandal as well, but it's more sort of fleshed out and really looks at her early reign as well. So I would highly recommend that one. Then we have a book that is about the whole of Elizabeth's life and reign. You can see how thick it is, and this is a rather battered copy because I've had it for years. This is Elizabeth I by Anne Somerset. There's a book that's just as thick by Alison Weir as well, and there's also one by Alison Plowden. But this is the one that I kind of rely on when I want to look up something about Elizabeth. It's very well referenced as well, so I would recommend that. Elizabeth I by Anne Somerset. Don't worry if you're trying frantically to write notes as I'm saying this. I will put the book names and authors in the description as well for you. So that is a kind of, if you really want to know about Elizabeth, those are the books as kind of starters that I would recommend. Obviously, there are stacks and stacks of books on Elizabeth. Okay, moving on to Katherine Parr. Looking at some biographies of Katherine. This is my favourite. Katherine the Queen by Linda Porter. A brilliant read. Linda is meticulous with her research as well. It's a really, really good biography of Katherine. I'm handing off to my servant here. Then we also have, this is excellent too, Elizabeth Norton. Elizabeth Norton's actually written biographies of, I think, all of Henry's wives. I'm trying to think if she has done all of them. I don't think she did, Katherine had, but she's done quite a few of them. And this is an excellent read on Katherine Parr as well. So that's Elizabeth Norton's biography. And if you're even more hungry for stuff on Katherine Parr, then we've got Susan James's biography as well. That is a very good read too. So that's Katherine Parr done and dusted. And actually those three biographies give you a much more rounded picture of Katherine Parr as an intelligent, pious woman who, like us all, can be foolish for love. But yes, I'm not keen on the Katherine of the show at all. Very two-dimensional. Moving on to Mary. So we have Linda Porter. I'm a Linda Porter fan here. This is a brilliant one on Mary. Mary Tudor, the first queen. Very, very good. You can see how big it is. And actually, I've got absolutely loads. Terrible with books. Look at, I've got absolutely loads with the corner turned down. So you can see I use that a lot. So yeah, that's a good one. If you only buy one book on Mary, that's the one I would say to buy. Another one I love on Mary is Mary Tudor, Princess, Bastard, Queen. I think this one and Linda's book have slightly different titles in different countries, but this is Anna Whitelock's Mary Tudor, and that is a wonderful read as well. I actually really like the hardback because it's got, I don't know, beautiful pages. They're not flat. I don't know how you call those. And again, I've got lots of corners turned down, so you can see I use that one a lot. So that is a really good one on Mary. Edward VI is rather lacking, but the key one for his life and reign has to be Chris Skidmore's Edward VI, the Lost King of England. And again, I've got post-it notes, corners turned down, all sorts. That one, definitely a good read on Edward and his reign. I mean, he had a relatively short reign, but you can see it's quite thick, so it's very, very detailed. So that one is my pick on Edward. Now, moving on to the Seymours. If you want a book on Edward Seymour, then I would recommend one by Margaret Scard. I actually haven't got a copy of it, a physical copy of it. It's actually on my Kindle. So I will get Techie Tim, to put a picture for you. But it's called Tudor King in All But Name, The Life of Edward Seymour. And that's by Margaret Scard. And that is a brilliant read on Edward Seymour, who of course was the Lord Protector for Edward VI for some years before he got overthrown, oops, spoilers, by John Dudley, Duke of Northumberland. But if you want a book on the Seymours in general, and actually I don't think there is a biography of Thomas Seymour, but if you want a book on the Seymour family, then there is the one by David Loades, which is called The Seymours of Wolf Hall. So that is a good one, looking at the whole family. So Jane, Edward, Thomas, their roots. So that is a good one. And then Lady Jane Grey, who of course is wonderfully brought to life by Bella Ramsey in the series. I hope that her portrayal of Lady Jane Grey has made you want to know more about the girl. You know, was she really that pious and annoying? We have two books on her, and they actually depict her slightly differently. So I would read both of them because they just give a different picture of her. We've got Lady Jane Grey, A Tudor Mystery by Eric Ives. And this one is really good at explaining Edward's device for the succession and why he chose Lady Jane Grey. And yeah, about him seeing his sisters as half-blood and seeing Jane as full-blooded and legitimate, and therefore the only kind of legitimate heir that he could really see. So it really explains that and the kind of the legal kind of bits behind it. So that is really, really good. But Leander de Lisle's The Sisters Who Would Be Queen, which has different covers in different countries and different editions. This one is fabulous because it looks at all of the Grey sisters. So you've got Lady Jane Grey, Lady Katherine Grey, and Lady Mary Grey. It looks at Jane, it gives you a slightly different picture of Jane, and I like them both though. They're both brilliantly argued, meticulously researched. So those are the two that I would recommend for Lady Jane Grey. So yeah, that is my kind of starter list for after you've seen the series Becoming Elizabeth and you want to know a bit more about the history behind it. I also have the website The Elizabeth Files, www.elizabethfiles.com, where you can find lots of articles about Elizabeth, her early life, her reign, her death, everything to do with Elizabeth. So do go and check that out as well. There's lots of categories that you can search. So yes, do check that out as well. So that is my starter kind of, well, beginner kind of list, just to start you off. And you could obviously pick and choose whether you're going to start with Elizabeth or whether you're hungry to find out about Catherine Parr or Lady Jane Grey. But those are the books I highly recommend because they're the books that I've used in my research. And they're also ones where I can kind of trust the references. I can use the references, the notes at the back, the bibliography, because they take you on another research journey. And then you can perhaps find the contemporary sources as well, the primary sources behind that historian's views. So there you go, and I do hope you're enjoying Becoming Elizabeth. I really do hope that it's bringing people, into Tudor history, piquing their interest in Elizabeth and the other characters presented there. Anyway, I will see you soon. Take care.